Hello, everyone, and welcome. Nice to see you all. I have my colleague John Meany today who will be assisting me with today's session.
Hello, everyone. I'm John. I am your co-host for today's session, and I'm pleased to introduce Ajay Boss-Bolton, who will be leading. A little bit about Ajay. She is a certified AI consultant with deep insurance roots. She's been helping agencies and advisors cut repetitive work while staying compliant without losing their client-first human touch. After nearly a decade inside a brokerage, Ajay now guides teams in adopting AI in a way that works that's human-centered, compliant, and ethical. At Lighthouse, she does strategy development, AI automation implementation, team trainings, and ongoing change support. Every engagement is personalized and in a thoughtful and modern approach tailored to this team's goals. So as promised, let's dive in. We're short on time, so over to you, Ajay. Please welcome me in joining her, everyone.
Hi, everyone, and thank you again for joining me for today's session. And thank you, John, for the warm introduction. In 2025, as we all know, AI is essential for improving efficiency and resilience due to several things, such as rising costs and demand for higher, faster quality service and reporting. In today's session, we will focus on actionable strategies from leading global Canadian data, including Evident AI's Insurance Index and MIT's State of AI in Business 2025. Before we start, let's quickly have a look at our agenda for today. We will start off with GenAI divide, and then move on to enterprise paradox, Canadian insurance in 2025, P&C and life insurance differences, regulatory guardrails, winning strategy, real examples, and key takeaways. As we all know, all sectors are currently facing the Gen AI divide with various degrees of impact. MIT's study of over 300 AI initiatives found that despite 30 to 40 billion in investment, only 5% of AI pilots successfully generated value. Of course, the key to success lies not only in AI's capabilities, but also organizations' ability to craft comprehensive strategy while learning and integrating and focusing on maturity, governance, strategic direction, and workforce development. And of course, I am here to help you to land on the right side of this divide in the immediate term. Let's look at where enthusiasm meets the evidence. The Gen AI divide shows that while adoption is increasing, the real business impact often lags behind the hype. To do so, we will need to deep dive into MIT's State of AI in Business report. The reality is that adoption versus ROI. Yes, adoption is high, but only 5% of projects, like I mentioned earlier, reach production. And 90% report no measurable ROI. Productivity gains existed, but the true business impact was rare. How about shadow AI? And perhaps some of you don't know more about it. It is the unofficial use of consumer chatbots like ChatGPT, perhaps, by employees using to enhance the productivity without the knowledge of approval of leadership, IT, and compliance teams. It boosts individual productivity, but creates compliance and data risk exposure. No visibility, no audit trail. And money follows marketing and sales. 70% of Gen AI spent went on client-facing front office pilots, chasing quick returns and hype metrics. And unfortunately, most of them failed to translate into revenue or cost savings. How about integration gap? When AI implementations stayed disconnected from core systems such as CRM, agent management systems, or claims systems. So there was no way to capture the data, track metrics, or see a clear picture of profit and loss. As a result, productivity remained limited to local teams rather than being shared across the whole organization. How about sector disparity? Tech, media, telecom, they show clear structural change due to AI. On the contrary, heavily regulated sectors like insurance, finance, healthcare haven't seen much change due to compliance. How about human oversight? 90% of responders said they still prefer human oversight for complex and regulated tasks because Gen AI simply lacks reliable memory context or accountability in some cases. In regulated industries like insurance, human review is not optional, but it is mandatory. The winning model is AI assisted and human approved. ROI sources. Sales and marketing functions captured approximately 70% of AI budget, as I mentioned just briefly before. But on the contrary, the true ROI in Gen AI came from back office automation, eliminating simple tasks and manual processes, or perhaps business process outsourcing contracts. Quiet savings, not flashy tools. By the way, consumer chatbots, they definitely boost productivity, but the true profit and loss and efficiency gains came when it was integrated to other real workflows. How about buy versus build? Internal builds failed twice as often when working with vendors. So customized solutions resulted in faster outcomes and better compliance. We need to think it this way. These strategic partnerships, they bring quicker value because they bring their expertise. They overall lower your costs and improve alignment in operations. We're continuing with the MIT search, and the enterprise paradox apparently occurs when large organizations excel at initiating Gen AI pilots, but they struggle to scale them efficiently. So when we compare them with the mid-market teams scaled on an average 90 days, but large organizations 9 months or perhaps more. What are the reasons? Perhaps their AI pilots operated within the existing workflows. That's one of the reasons why mid-sized teams succeed. And of course, they established smaller internal teams that enabled quick tweaks during the pilot phase. So the three main reasons why enterprise pilots stalled: the learning gap. Tools unfortunately failed to retain context, leading staff to repeatedly input the same information over and over again. And integration gap. Pilots unfortunately operated separately from the CRM, the agency management systems, or claims systems. So the wins didn't impact the key business KPIs. And the investment bias. The leadership unfortunately focused on flashy front office projects instead of the back office automation where the biggest gains are achieved. To understand the state of AI in Canadian insurance, we should look at Evident AI's Global Insurance Index. And this index assessed the AI maturity of 30 major insurers in North America and Europe. The index shows us that this year, the industry has advanced past the pilot phase and embedded AI into day-to-day operations. And now we're kind of starting to see the real numbers of AI. Here is a quick summary of the AI initiatives implemented by the larger Canadian carriers. Manulife, they announced 9-figure annual benefits. They deployed internal co-pilots and document AI, allowing their teams to do knowledge retrieval easily, if that makes sense, and other pilot projects. At Great-West Lifeco, they deployed digital customer experience projects, and they work with fraud analytics programs. At Sun Life, employee chatbot and notes assistant freed advisors' time. At Intact Financial, they deployed more than 500 AI models. They explicitly announced how much they actually gained in 2024 from AI, which is roughly $150 million in annual benefits. So the AI index also showed another thing to us. The insurers that focused on P&C appeared to be ahead of life insurers. And we need to be able to read this a little bit better because we need to understand the fundamental differences between life and PC policy renewal cycle. As we all know, PC runs on a short renewal cycles, renewal claims, which means abundant data, labeled data for AI. And it is amazing. AI loves data. So the teams get faster feedback and insurers can iterate their models very quickly, even weekly. On the opposite, life insurers deal with longer cycles, fewer touch points, and sensitive medical and financial data. While in Canada, we still lack a national AI law, existing regulations, they provide clear guidelines emphasizing accountability, transparency, and human oversight. Perhaps you heard this, the Air Canada chatbot case. It highlighted that organizations are responsible for AI-generated inaccuracies. The judge found Air Canada liable for the misinformation shared by the chatbot and sent a very, very clear message to all organizations. For brokers, Registered Insurance Brokers of Ontario's 2025 guidance makes this very plain. Keep a human in the loop. A licensed person must review anything that AI produces before it reaches to a client. So AI can assist, but the professional judgment stays human. For insurers and banks, OSFI's new guideline, E23, and this is just recently finalized and released in mid-September, requires a documented inventories, detailed awareness of AI models, regular testing, and performance tracking. I'm sure the insurers who are already in here in today's meeting are already aligning with the standards. And guideline, I think, will influence the future federal AI Act. Canadian Insurance Services Regulatory Organizations has also addressed cybersecurity risks associated with generative AI use, noting that intermediaries must establish policies and training to protect client information. So no public or open AI solutions. As someone who comes from the insurance industry, dear peers, when using these AI tools, we must protect our client data. We need to know where our data is stored and how it is processed and secured. We must ensure that our vendors follow Canadian privacy standards. As a result, many firms now prefer Canadian-hosted solutions and for enhanced compliance and reduced risk. So we touched on quite a lot of things so far. What is the winning strategy in 2025? First of all, you can start off with naming one internal project lead. If your project, for example, in claims, then you can choose your lead from your claims team. Pair this lead with an external delivery partner who can bring proven patterns. Integrate these workflows into your systems and move from pilot to production quickly. Next, treat your vendors like business partners, not just software sellers. Choose based on trust, customization, and fit. Then start and expand where the volume and the value is. For instance, where perhaps the cycles are frequent, or perhaps in your organization, the value is high. It can be claims or client intake, document automation, knowledge retrieval, or perhaps a simple triage. Prove it with two outcomes first, either a cycle time, accuracy time, or first time resolution, and expand on them. Finally, demand systems that retain context and learn from feedback. If you are exploring agentic AI approaches, keep it practical. Ensure persistent memory, clear guardrails, and auditable steps. In this section of our webinar, I'd like to provide you with some concrete examples of how these AI implementations have been carried out. I really hope this section will help you clarify the concepts that we discussed so far and perhaps spark some new ideas for you and for your teams. At Manulife, AI-powered internal chatbots reduced multi-hour legal and policy summarization and review processes to just 2 minutes. So it basically shrinked the existing flows from approximately 6 to 8 hours to under 10 minutes. While it may not be flashy results, it is a quantifiable and it is scaled across back office teams. At Great-West Life Co., they leaned on partners. They modernized digital forms and follow-ups. The point in here isn't the tool, though. It is the pattern that we need to pay attention. Buy for speed, customize for workflow, and measure the cycle time and perhaps first-time resolution. That's how you can quickly move beyond pilots. For contrast, mid-sized insurer Gore Mutual, they used AI for risk assessment and underwriting automation. The implementation successfully accelerated underwriting cycle times through automated risk assessment and reduced data entry time for underwriters. And a small brokerage firm from Ontario, McCAM, they automated client intake and data extraction. So their advisors are spending less time on manual entry, typing, copying, and pasting, but they're spending more time with their clients. They started with one high volume cube, proven the time savings, and widened their scope. Quiet, repeatable wins, they always beat the big promises. So here is a quick recap of what we've learned today so far. We talked about Canadian insurers are setting the pace globally with practical and measurable wins. Now we have enough regulatory guidance to know that we can move safely with AI implementations. We also know why pilots stall. And this gives us a clear understanding of where we should focus our first AI projects. We separated hype from reality. And finally, outlined a winning strategy that can move us beyond the pilot. From today's session, I would like you to take 3 things back to your teams. First, please focus on the real work, not the tools, and pick one high volume step, either intake, document automation, or claims triage, and build within your AMS, within your CRM, within your claims system. And secondly, show the numbers. Measure the cycle from start to end, or perhaps first time accuracy. If you can improve those, now you have a case to scale. And finally, protect the trust. Be transparent with your clients when AI assists. Keep the human in the loop for client impacting decisions, and know where your data is processed and how it is protected. If you do these things consistently, you will cross the divide with the results everyone can see. So thank you so much for joining today's webinar, everyone. I really hope you found the information that I shared very valuable. I hope that you're leaving with some fresh and actionable insights on how AI can support. Before we head to the Q&A section, I want to say something very quickly. I would like to let you know that I am opening up a small offer for only 2 organizations who wants my help with getting started. It will be 2-part remote mini-series. The part 1 will be on AI fundamentals for insurance teams. It will be an hour-long session, and it will be practical, interactive information to share with your teams and help them understand and build the confidence. And the second part will be Idea Jam workshop. It will be approximately an hour and a half, and it is a guided brainstorming session that will help your teams to identify and prioritize AI use cases tailored to your operations. So if you're interested in, my email is on the screen. Please have your organization name, your team's focus, size, and the location. And at the end, I really hope I will be able to launch the poll, but I would love to be able to get your quick feedback because, as you can imagine, it takes a lot of time from my day. And I would love to be able to get your feedback directly from my peers. It will be 3-question poll. If your input can help me, that would be amazing. So yes, I would love to be able to jump into your questions. I will check the Q&A section and the chat sections, and I will stop sharing my screen quickly. We have 6 more minutes to go. I hope I wasn't very fast while I was trying to convey my messages. Thank you, Serge. Thanks very much, Leanne. Thank you, Melissa. Really appreciate it, Angela. Thank you. Thanks so much, Taylor. Thank you, Gakar. Thanks, John. Alrighty, I guess no Q&As. I'm not seeing anything on Q&A or in the chat. If you don't have any more questions, I really wish you a very, very lovely Wednesday. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me, listening to my perspective, and of course, learning never ends. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you, Ajay. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time. We appreciate it.